Today we're talking about why 0.21 Bitcoin is not enough, not just yet. So in today's video, I'm addressing some of the buy, borrow, die strategy controversy that I stirred up in my last video. And I specifically want to cover what I'm not saying as part of this conversation, who this strategy is likely good for right now, when will this be a good strategy for you if it's not for you just yet? And then answering some specific questions that some of you guys left in the comments. So just as a quick review, buy, borrow, die, it originally comes from the real estate market. And this is basically where you buy an asset, typically a property. It appreciates in value. And as that asset appreciates, then you're able to obtain a loan or a line of credit against it as a non-taxable event. That income is a non-taxable event. And then the die part of it is upon death, the step-up basis resets to market value and the heirs can sell the asset tax-free. Why it works: borrowing is non-taxable and the asset continues to appreciate while you draw cash. So I want to talk about, there's a flurry of comments. I appreciate it. Welcome to all of you guys that are new subscribers. I'm not saying that I'm a buy, borrow, die expert like a lot of you guys that are in Bitcoin or newer into Bitcoin or part of the FIRE movement. This is a new kind of thing to me. I'm not saying that this is for everyone. I'm not saying that now is the right time. I'm not saying that 0.21 Bitcoin is enough right now. Clearly, that wouldn't be. If that's all you have, it's not enough. And like one commenter said, I'm not saying that $5,700 is enough to live on. So we have to kind of engage our critical thinking skills in this exercise, I think. So I'm not saying that you should ever borrow against more than 10 to 20% of your stack. I think this nuance is really important to kind of infuse into the conversation. I'm definitely not saying that you should just blindly trust any of these lenders. I'm a hardcore Bitcoin maximalist, not your keys, not your coins. You have to be very careful as you're vetting these out. I'm in the process of doing that myself. And as always, caveat emptor, none of this is financial advice. Please do your own research. I'm just in the process of engaging my audience and my client base in this strategy as well. And so, yeah, that video that I put out last Friday was meant to be an outline of the general philosophy and practice of buy, borrow, die. It's an important piece of context that especially if you're new to Bitcoin, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a few minutes, you're probably in the capital growth phase. So the capital growth phase of your investment posture is where you're focusing on increasing your net worth, you're focusing on growing your overall nest egg, and you're harnessing Bitcoin's compound annual growth rate. Okay, now, this buy, borrow, die strategy is probably only really good for people that have crossed that threshold and are now in the income generation phase. Okay, so this is where you've built an appreciable enough at nest egg that you are able to focus on generating income from that nest egg while preserving and growing your net worth. And then you're also using Bitcoin as the nuclear reactor for that whole process. So I think the vast majority of you guys that are commenting are probably still in the capital growth phase. We'll talk more about that in a few minutes. By the way, if we're just meeting, my name is Brad. I'm on a mission to empower millennials and Gen X to integrate Bitcoin more deeply into their personal finances so they can reach financial independence in 10 years or less. So who is this good for? Specifically, who is this good for right now? I would say not very many people, okay? The price action is very bearish in Bitcoin in this season that we're in right now. Plus, the interest rates on these loans are pretty high. I saw some in my AI research, like 5 to 9%, but I think many of them are above 10% right now. That's a pretty high interest rate. But let's say, for example, you have a stack of 10 Bitcoin. You're one of the lucky people that got in super early or you invested a significant amount of your net worth in that. This might be good for you. Maybe you can peel off 10%. Let's say, easy math, one Bitcoin is at 100K. And then you take a loan to value like I go into in the last video, and I'll leave a link in the description below if you haven't watched that yet, of 30% instead of 50%. That gives you a $30,000 loan that you can use for various purposes, and we'll go into some of the uses of that here in a few minutes as well. And this makes your liquidation zone, if there is a downturn in the Bitcoin price, that makes it a much safer bet, if you will. If you have 0.21 Bitcoin right now, it's just not enough, So I know that some of you guys are trying to do math problems. You're trying to say, $5,700. No, clearly that's not enough. Okay, I'm not even suggesting that it is. Okay, you would have to post way too much of your Bitcoin. The better strategy is to stack and wait. You're still in the capital growth phase. You are here, capital growth phase. So focus on growing your asset base, growing your Bitcoin base, grow your overall nest egg, watch Bitcoin's compound annual growth rate and just keep stacking. So the vast majority of you guys that are watching these videos and commenting in the comment section that are, sort of critical of this is an important piece of context that I want to keep reiterating. Your personal context is super important. You need significant assets to make this work. I just watched Bitcoin Katie's video. I'll leave a link to her video in the description below here as well. And everything that she's saying in that video is true, and I agree with her. 90% of your Bitcoin, I believe, should always be on-chain in self-custody. Okay, so obviously this is going to be, so in the last example that I used, if, someone has 10 Bitcoin and they want to borrow against 10% of it, they're going to have to pull that 10% off out of self-custody in order to post it as collateral. And then, you may have a 10% of your overall net worth that's not in Bitcoin. Maybe it's trapped in the traditional financial sector, and maybe some of that is available for this buy, borrow, die strategy. Again, investment posture should be, income generation, and I messed up this slide, so it's not income generation, it's income generation, so that should be your posture. An overview of the strategy is meant to be aspirational and a future pacing exercise. So when I did that video, I'm thinking like, okay, all of us that are in the Bitcoin space right now, we're looking forward to the next 5 to 10 years in terms of what Bitcoin is going to be worth in that time period. And so you want to start thinking of that, okay, cool. Let's say the 0.21 Bitcoin that I have now is worth $2 million 10 years from now. Okay, well, what would I do with it? And so I think that's an important part of the education process to really think through sort of these things. Morgan Housel has a great quote: "Many bets fail not because they were wrong, but because they were mostly right in a situation that required things to be exactly right." And so I think for a lot of us as retail investors, we're learning this process of thinking like an investor. We're not thinking like, a slot machine gambler in Vegas. We have to learn how to think like an investor. And in order to do that, we have to organize our finances in such a way that we don't require everything to go exactly right. So for the vast majority of you guys, it's way too early to consider this strategy for even if you have 0.21 Bitcoin at this point. When will this be a good strategy? I would say when Bitcoin in fiat terms reaches your personal escape velocity. And so, what is your financial independence retire early number? Is it $1 million? Is it 2 million? Is it 5 million? When you've determined that you've built that stack to enough and you're ready to, transition into the income generation phase, when you can do the buy, borrow, die strategy inside of that safe zone, inside of that safe loan to value zone that I talked about a few minutes ago. The problem with retail investors, and this is why we get squashed in all of these, downturns and bear markets, is that most of us as retail investors are impatient. We want Bitcoin to go to $1 million yesterday afternoon, okay? BlackRock is going to shake you out. If you have that mentality, if you're still kind of like, looking at Bitcoin as a slot machine or any of the cryptos as a slot machine, you have to step back and take a longer term view of this. Retail always gets slaughtered because of this. BlackRock and all of these, big institutions are going to shake you out, and you've got to unlearn this. This is really, really important. Some questions to ask about your personal context is, have I held my Bitcoin for at least 4 to 5 years? If you haven't, especially if you've only held it for about a year, you haven't probably seen much appreciation at all in terms of, the fiat valuation of Bitcoin. What's your stacking goal? What are you trying to get to? Do you know your numbers? Okay. For those of you guys that are sort of like newer to personal finance, I have a free budgeting course, and I'll leave a link in the video description below for that walks through this framework that I work with my private clients on how to organize, their bills, expenses, debts, sources of income, sort of get their net worth in line, plan their cash flows, which is a monthly zero-based budget, get them tracking expenses so that they can optimize for whatever the next phase of their financial journey is. And that includes like knowing your numbers, like what's your FIRE number? And that means basically what is the annual income that you're going to need in retirement when you want to retire. So you have to start thinking through these. So this is it's a constant critical thinking process. And this is exactly what I work with through my private clients and with my community as well. Another Morgan Housel quote: "A mindset can be paranoid and optimistic at the same time." a mindset that can be paranoid and optimistic at the same time is hard to maintain because seeing things black or white takes less effort than accepting nuance. Okay, and this is what I'm trying to argue for in this video. But you need short-term paranoia to keep you alive long enough to exploit your long-term optimism. So that's really what this this conversation around buy, borrow, die is meant to be. It's meant to get you thinking about, okay, what are my goals? Where am I in this process? I need equal parts paranoia and optimism because I want to make sure that I'm staying alive and not selling my Bitcoin or whatever, asset at the wrong time and making it harder on myself in the future. So now I'm going to jump into some of the questions that you guys asked in the comments. This is not going to be exhaustive. If you want me to answer your question more specifically, leave a comment in the comment section below or show up to our Thursday live stream. This coming Thursday. So the first question was, how do I pay the loan back? I think that this is all about context, right? So if you're still working or maybe you have other assets that you're using to pay the loan back, there are lots of different scenarios for this. So I guess I would say, how would you pay a loan back that you would currently take out for a car or a home or consumer debt or any of those kinds of things? How can I know a lender is safe? That is really, again, this is a process, like I mentioned before, of do your own research. I think there are some generally sort of accepted parameters to kind of look at. We'll be going into that in future content as I'm vetting out lenders myself. Ultimately, no lender is safe, right? Not your keys, not your coins. If you're giving up access, if you're giving up your private keys to some third party, you are giving up some modicum of your safety in that. So I don't want to, gloss over that. As a Bitcoin maximalist myself, not your keys, not your coins. I understand that. But following the rubric that we're talking about in this, sort of buy, borrow, die series, you never want to use a significant portion of your Bitcoin. You never want to hand over the keys to a significant part of your Bitcoin. What if my position gets liquidated? That is, that's a nightmare scenario. So what you want to do is really pre-think, like we talked about in the video, like I talked about a few minutes ago. You want to get your loan to value down as much as possible. Now, granted, if Bitcoin is at $100,000 and you're putting one Bitcoin worth of collateral and you're only taking out 30K, that's a personal type of situation. These are the kinds of things that I have conversations with and with my private clients as well. What if I don't have enough Bitcoin? This goes back to you're still in the, the net worth or the nest egg building phase, and you just need to stay focused on that and not really focus on this buy, borrow, die strategy because you don't have enough assets yet. And that's okay. That's the case for most of us right now. All of this follows along the lines of do your own research. Again, this has to make sense in your context. It has to make sense for your situation. Maybe it's for you, maybe it's not. Only you can be the judge of that. I'm not here to say in any of my content that this is a, financial advice or this is going to be a great strategy for everybody. Clearly, it's not going to be. So I'm curious, what do you guys think? Leave a comment below. What do you think of this buy, borrow, die strategy? Is this something that you would ever try? How much Bitcoin do you think you'll need in order to successfully sort of execute this strategy? And I wanted to address just for those of you guys that are new to the channel and don't really know a lot about me, as we dig deeper into all of these questions, I think the context of where I'm coming from is important. So I'm attempting in this platform to blend Dave Ramsey style personal finance with financial independence, retire early principles, and then using Bitcoin as the apex predator asset to accelerate my audience, my private clients to, financial independence. So I would say that even though I would consider myself a Bitcoin maximalist, I'm kind of philosophically homeless because Dave Ramsey wouldn't accept me because of my stance on Bitcoin, and I think some of the financial independence, retire early principles. The FIRE people are still, I think for the most part, fairly anti-Bitcoin, and then Bitcoiners can be the most awesome people, but can tend to be very close-minded about using any of these other strategies that involve fiat. And I understand that as well. I'm able to hold those two ideas in my head at the same time. So I see, I see it as the three grocery stores analogy. I see it as kind of regularly shopping at three perfectly adequate grocery stores. Each one has some awesome stuff in it. Each one has some totally inedible garbage. And there are some things that I like and have benefited from in all three of them. But that doesn't mean that I or you need to buy the entire inventory of all three just to be considered a loyal customer. I want to think for myself and apply the right things to my own personal situation as well as those of my clients. I mentioned this a minute ago. We're doing a weekly live stream on Thursdays where we talk about Dave Ramsey style personal finance, the financial independence, retire early movement. We talk about using Bitcoin as our nuclear reactor, as our high yield savings account in self-custody, these adjacent assets. I'm also experimenting with BTCI and Stretch right now, and then I always open it up for questions. So if you do have specific questions, I don't know that I'll have all of the answers, but I think it's good, to kind of help build a vocabulary between us. Most of our audience, if they're new to the strategy of integrating Bitcoin into their personal finances, will take out a Fold Visa debit card and or the Gemini Bitcoin MasterCard. It's a great way to start integrating Bitcoin into your daily personal finances, getting free sats, being able to use Bitcoin as well. And then if you have specific questions or there's a situation you're trying to work through or you want, second set of eyes on your situation, just schedule a 30-minute call. My calls are very reasonable, and I will see you tomorrow. Okay, since you made it this far in the video, I wanted to offer 2 resources that will help you integrate Bitcoin more deeply into your personal finances. Number 1, Gemini's Orange Bitcoin MasterCard. You can earn up to 4% Bitcoin on everyday purchases like gas, dining, groceries, retail purchases. There's no annual fee, no foreign transaction fees, and no exchange fees on any of your rewards. Plus, if you sign up today using my link in the video description below, you get $200 in Bitcoin when you spend $3,000 in your first 90 days. The link is in the description and the comments below. Number 2, I'm also offering one-to-one calls to answer questions and to help you integrate Bitcoin into your personal finances more deeply, including traditional FIRE and Bitcoin planning, as well as Bitcoin self-custody. Link is in the video description below for that.